Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my opinion. The Chennai Super Kings have lost their fifth match in a row. I think in the history of CSK, this has to be the worst loss. From the moment the first ball was bowled, they were never in the contest. And Aditya is back on the channel. How did you find things?
Yes, hi everyone. Yeah, I agree. That was probably the most one-sided CSK match I've ever seen, to be honest. But yeah, I think obviously we saw Dhoni today come back as captain, and we all thought he could be the person who was going to turn it around for CSK, and it just wasn't to be today. I think from the start, as soon as we lost those early wickets in the power play, we were always just chasing the game. Uh, that second over, Moeen Ali bowled. Uh, restricted the run rate, and that was a very tight over. So I think that second over added a lot of
And
pressure.
it was a gamble as well. I didn't think he should have
Yeah,
bowled, and it shows how the lack of confidence the CSK batsmen have got when you're letting him get away with it.
and I feel like that over is the over that led to the fall of wickets. I think the two early wickets because they knew that they had to start because they. Did you see today? Dhoni in the post match presentation he gave in his interview, he said, "Our openers are not the type of batsmen who are gonna hit you 60 in 6 overs. So we're gonna
He didn't say that. He said they're not going to hit a lot of sixes in the power play. But he said that you can get to 60 in different ways.
mm. and what he was saying also was that we should look to just not lose early wickets in the power play and just build partnerships so that the middle order, like batsmen like Dubé and Dhoni, could actually effectively play their natural game towards the end. And he thought that was the issue right there. And what do you think? What do you think about the decision today? The decision today to bring Deepak Huda. I didn't even.
So first of all, and now we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's start off with the 11. So first of all, in terms of the two people they brought in, I thought it was correct. Rahul Tripathi, because he's got the ability to score some quick runs on his day. He generally looks to be attacking, but he's not been in confidence in the last while. And Anshul Kamboj in place of Mukesh Chaudhary, I was happy to see. I would not have persisted with Devon Conway. We'll get to the technicalities very shortly. But apart from that, as far as the players who they brought in, I didn't think that they done much wrong. For Kolkata, I suggested a controversial 11. I left out the 23 crore guy because why they lost the previous match, a match they had in their hand, is because the supposed left-right combinations was they sent Rinku at number 8, sent Ramandeep ahead of him because a wicket of the right-hander fell, which I thought was nonsense. So they made only one change, and they made a correct change. They dropped Spencer Johnson, brought in Moeen Ali, and I'll say again, in case they play on a surface which is more batting friendly, they shouldn't think Wright will drop Moeen and bring back Spencer Johnson again, because you've got to think which bowler is going to concede less runs, whether a fast bowler or a spinner. How often is Moeen Ali going to bowl when you've got those two spinners on other sides? I don't know, but if you bring in Chetan Sakaria as an impact sub, then you've got Spencer Johnson who's going for 30 and 2, and I don't think Sakaria will go for that. And then you could also bowl a Moeen Ali who's more economical, and you could add to your batting as well, although Moeen Ali's batting the last one hasn't been as good. So that's what I think they should do, but they went with the combination today. They made the correct change. And Anika Rane won the toss and chose to bowl first. And you, as well as me, were thinking this gave CSK an opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand the decision at all. I mean, in the tournament so far, it's so clear that CSK cannot chase, and it's like they're gonna find it really difficult chasing. So I didn't understand why Ajinkya Rahane chose to bowl first. It didn't really make sense to be either way, but it didn't work for it. It worked out to their favor because I feel like today CSK were just deflated. I didn't really see them uh, looking to take advantage of the power play again, or and I feel like the two changes, Vijay Shankar and Rahul Tripathi, you weren't really expecting them to do anything in this game, were you? Because Rahul Tripathi,
Jason wasn't a change. You already played before.
sorry, Rahul Tripathi, the Rahul Tripathi who came in today, so you can't really expect him to do much because he's had a couple games off and he's not done much with the bat, and I don't think he can. So we saw Vijay Shankar. He tried his best today, but I think those two early wickets put a lot of pressure on him to get the run rate going. And so far, the tournament that he's had so far, it just shows in his batting that he's just a bit nervous when he comes
It's
out to
not
bat.
about that. He just doesn't have power hitting, and this is where we get into the tech. So on Devon Conway, and you elaborated this better when I pointed out there was a flaw. But while you're watching, you said some valid points. So I talked about the bat swing, and when he scored that boundary straight down the ground, so the off drive, the bat turned inwards. So left hand of the bat turned inwards, and you said two things. One, the back leg moving. Secondly, the dominance of the bottom hand. Could you elaborate on?
Yeah, so essentially what I was trying to say is that when he comes down the track or against spinners especially when he comes down the track, his back leg often ends up behind his front leg, right? It's in his stance he has a fairly open stance, but when he goes down the track and he connects with the ball, his back leg ends up behind his front leg. So what happens is that just closes his entire body off. So that means that his along with his bottom hand dominant grip is basically his it's not allowing him to have a stable base to go through with the ball and hit through the line. So that's what I meant. So that's why he got out, and today he got out in a really odd way, playing some reverse sweep.
Everyone got out in very poor ways.
Yeah, I mean, playing some, especially Devon Conway, is not in the best form. Playing some like reverse sweep in that situation, I don't really know what he was trying to do. But coming to the dismissals as well, I think Matthew Hayden pointed it right in commentary. They didn't even get out trying to slog. I mean, they were just trying to rotate strike and chipped it up in the air, which just shows the lack of confidence, doesn't it?
And this is and are you finished or do you want me to say something?
Yeah, I think here's where we should like get into the impact sub, which I just didn't understand. What do you think was the thinking behind that?
So starting off with the dismissals, you're right. In Vijay Shankar, you say that he's trying his best, but the first I don't know how they dropped those two catches. And then in his innings of 29, he had 3 lives, including the catch, the dismissal in the end. On the impact sub, and this is why I'd said Moeen Ali, the gamble to bowl him, the incorrect decision to bowl him, because that worked out. In my preview, I'd said Indian seamers in the power play, then you've got the spinners after that. They bowled out Moeen by the 12th over. So in the last 6, they had 2 overs of Narayan and Chakravarti left just for Dhoni. But what I'm saying is you've got 6 overs left. You've got to face 4 from the spinners. So you're still looking to face the 2, what I think it would be. You're looking to face the 2 who are not those 2 bowlers. You're sending Huda out who's not in confidence. And I really didn't understand. And this is where you're looking into that and you're saying, I expected the strategical errors to cease with Dhoni being captain. Yet you got this ridiculous impact sub. Yet in the second innings, Ashwin bowls in the power play yet again. And maybe he thought, right, when I was captain, I got the best out of him bowling that phase. Could I do it again? It didn't work out. But you got a Noor Ahmed, wherever he's in bowling, he can bowl in the power play and at the death. And he hasn't bowled a single over in the power play in this tournament. And I didn't understand that. And when he was brought on, he dismissed Narayan. So I think I didn't expect the strategical errors that we saw today. I thought what he said after the press conference, I don't agree you have to hit sixes all the time. So I'm saying his assessment about the batting lineup was correct, but I really didn't expect those strategical errors. What did you think?
Yeah, I think with that impact sub, I just didn't understand bowling Ashwin in the power play. He hasn't done whenever he's done so throughout the tournament. He's been smacked for runs. So it was something I thought he would know, and but I don't know. Coming from Dhoni, a player like captain like Dhoni, it was a bit disappointing. But let's just come to KKR's bowling. I mean, how do you think they were so confident today against CSK? I mean, it seemed like they just knew that
there was
whatever
no
they
threat.
there was no threat there whatsoever. So you saw Moeen Ali, the decision to bowl Moeen Ali, which you said was a brave decision, and he came
Well, I
on.
didn't say it was brave. I said it was a wrong decision.
It was the wrong decision, but it worked, which
Yeah,
is a
it did
reflection
work
of our
because
batting.
that's how lack of you saw the dismissals when you saw Rachin got out as well, which he just tries to play goes line, flick it goes up near, and they allowed. Yes, I thought. In fact, I was surprised because I think I said this. I may have said this at the start. They bowled very poorly the previous match. I mean, they were bowling these slower wide ones going around the park, and yet in this case they felt no fear. He's just landing the wide Yorkers with precision just inside the wide line, and you saw the previous match of bowling to this Nicholas Poor and Mitchell Marsh. They didn't know what to do. Whatever they were bowling was going into the stands. So I'm not saying CSK have to play like that. I don't think this surface requires you to play. There's a way you can get to 55, and those two openers are skilled enough to get to 55 in that fashion. But I just thought, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, but CSK lost this match because of losing the last one match. It's the way they lost them. You subtract Raj from that captaincy equation, you see that a legendary captain like Dhoni, you've still got baggage to carry that. You've got people who are not in the best of confidence because of what has happened before. And I felt that baggage may lighten as the season goes on. They're going to have to start winning. In my calculation, if you get 1-7, lost 7, so they can lose 2 more at a maximum, and then they'll have to win 6. So I feel that the baggage may lighten if they start winning. I feel they're much better placed under Dhoni's hands than anyone else. But I would have liked Raj, the batsman, to be available, of course. But would you agree with me that because of the confidence, the lack of confidence that we saw, that also played a part in this performance?
Yeah, I think I completely agree, and I think Rudraj Gaikwad's loss was actually a big hit for them because he was their only batsman who they could sort of look at and say, all right, we've got him. He's going to be our core, our anchor of the batting lineup. If he needs to accelerate, he can, and if he needs to play sensibly and just stay in there and build partnerships for a while, he can do that as well. And I think he's the only consistent player in the CSK batting lineup. This whole
Rachin could have been, but he's not in form. Rachin, I'm surprised that he's not been consistent because in the Champions Trophy he's a player of the tournament. But I think for him it's a confidence issue, but for the others, technically and form-wise, I didn't think they'd do well, and I'm not surprised about that.
Yeah, and so that was a big hit. And another thing I was saying is, and you mentioned, is that the bowlers for KKR, they're all nailing those Yorkers perfectly with no problems whatsoever. We didn't even go for any wides, and I feel like the reason is that if you look at the other teams, they've got like an X factor. So, for example, Sunil Narayan and Quinton de Kock today, when you're bowling against them, there's a worry in the back of the bowler's mind that okay, they're gonna go for it, and if they have a good day today, they'll take the game away from us. And I feel like with CSK's batting lineup, it's just that threat is not there. The bowlers don't have any worries in the back of their mind saying, all right, we can have a problem here if it goes their way. So they're just running in with confidence to bowl, and they just are clear in their heads of what to bowl and when. And you saw today, Rahane, when by the time Dhoni came in, he was in a position where he had 4 overs of the spinners left to bowl to him, and 2 spinners that Dhoni has struggled against in the
Struggled
past.
against. I think he only had one boundary off Narayan, and he's been dismissed. Narayan one time, but he's not hit many runs. And Chakravarti, I think, thrice. Narayan the second time today.
Yeah, so now that CSK is, I mean, even with Dhoni, I think this would be an even bigger psychological hit for CSK that Dhoni has come in as captain and he lost by such a big margin. What do you think is the best way to go for
So
CSK?
I've got 2 11s here for saying that, but I think CSK will improve from this because I don't think this hiccup will be something that happens in the remaining matches. Dhoni captain people may think that I'm overestimating his influence, but with what he has done, I don't think it would be overestimating. I feel he's got the capability to turn any side around.
Yeah.
Now 11. So two 11s, and the difference between them is only one player. So if you have to play Rachin Ravindra, if you want to play an opener, or a frontline opening batsman, then you can play Rachin Ravindra, Sheikh Rashid, Andre Siddharth 3, Vansh Bedi 4, Shivan Dubey 5, Ravindra Jadeja 6, MS Dhoni 7, Ravichandran Ashwin 8, Anshul Kamboj 9, Matisha Patirana 10, and Noor Ahmed at 11. Or if you think Rachin Ravindra has not been in confidence, and if you have to play Sam Curran, then in this case, you'd only have to use him as an impact sub, which you may start him. That means if you bring Khalid in, then you can't play someone else, which is why you could either open with Sam Curran or you could play him as 3. You got Sam Curran, Sheikh Rashid, and the rest follow. It would also provide you a seamer to bowl on the power play because they're clearly not bowling Matisha Patriana before. And I'll say this again. Overseas seamer in the IPL has to bowl at the start and the end. You're in retained for 11 crores. And pretend if he had been an impact sub today, what impact do you think he would have had when the match was finished in 10 overs?
I mean, who are you talking about?
Patirana, because he only bowls after the 10th over. So
See-
what impact would he have had once the match is finished in the 10 overs?
I mean, today, Patirana wouldn't have had much impact today.
He wouldn't have any because he wouldn't have bowled. Even Jadeja only bowled the one last over.
Look, I think Dhoni was today. It came down to the just bad batting by CSK. 100 runs was never going to be enough in any game, for example. So, but like you say, you need to bring. The best thing to do from here would be to bring in the youngsters. So, for example, I think there's no point in sticking with Rahul Tripathi, Deepak Hooda, and possibly Vijay Shankar as well. We've given them a chance, and it's just not going to work. So I think no matter what I would do is no matter whether we win or lose or not, I would just I would bring in the youngsters like Andre Siddharth, Sheikh Rashid, and Vansh Bedi, which means that obviously you said that Andre Siddharth and Sheikh Rashid are the top order batsmen, right? So you'd have to remove Devon Conway. There's no other.
Yeah,
option.
I've removed both Rachin and Devon Conway.
And possibly bringing in Sam Curran would be a bit helpful. I was even thinking for this game they could have brought in Sam.
You're right. They should have brought him in. You're right.
Because that brings in a attacking option with the bat and someone who can bowl as well. So if I was in CSK's management right now, I would just make these changes, bring the youngsters in, and regardless of whether we win or lose the rest of the games, just play the same 11 for the rest of the tournament. Because we saw the same with Ruturaj Gaikwad. Remember when CSK had that really bad season and Dhoni said, "Oh, he doesn't have the spark," and then Rutu came in and he just played really consistently, and we created a big star out of him. So I think this is where we need to give them a chance and take the pressure. It will take the pressure off them as well. If you say, doesn't matter if we win or
lose, just
play your natural game, and that's what we need to do. But knowing CSK and Dhoni, I think Dhoni's had enough of the changes, so he won't make any changes.
I think, and based on what he said our openers. So I think these are the Conway, Rachin are their openers. Now I'm not talking about ability. For Conway, I'm talking about technicality. You mentioned the specifics of that, and I'm talking about confidence. If you're not able to hit Moeen Ali when he's bowling in the wrong phase, then, and not only that, but you're spectacularly failing throughout the innings, then what the talk before the tournament was that CSK will look to win on the slow surfaces and not then steal a smash and grab when they go to the batting friendly tracks. They haven't been to the batting friendly tracks yet, and they're losing 5 in a row. So imagine if they go to a batting friendly track. If they go to Mumbai, yes, they haven't been winning, but with that seam attack, if they play in Mumbai with what with the confidence they got, and I'm not sensationalizing here. We're both CSK fans, and I have faith in Dhoni that he will not let things slide. But having said that, it shows that is this team impervious to strategical errors? No, and I don't think we would have seen a greater strategic error than bringing in Deepak Hooda as the impact sub. So I don't think they'll do that anymore, but I think they'll stick with this 11. And let's see how things go from now on. KKR finishing up, I'll say this again. It's been a stop-start campaign. Strategically, they've not nailed things thus far. And if they bring Spencer Johnson back the next match, they will keep losing the momentum that they gained from the previous match. So I hope they get their combination right. Do I think they qualify? I don't know, because it's a very hit and miss team. But it shows that they made a hit and miss team feel on top of the world because of that was I don't think KKR will have a less fear-free match than what they did today. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as I already covered, I think because CSK have no, like, they just have caused no threat to any of the teams. So I think like this for a team, any team, I think CSK they'll be confident against CSK. I think today's defeat wasn't really a surprise. Like, it was always on the cards. So I mean, if you look at the matchups, CSK is just missing something. They're just missing that flair, that threat, that X factor, which I think every other team has. And yeah, I think the only person, the one man who can save CSK from now is Dhoni by doing whatever he can. Uh, Apart from that, CSK is. I don't think there's any hope except from if Dhoni pulls off his magic.
And he can do that. I think they will be better. I don't think this performance will be what we see throughout. I will never doubt Dhoni. So let's see how things go. That's on this match. Let's see what follows. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share with friends. Remember, this is our opinion. What's your